Many thanks for joining us on today's edition of RAZEP Africa. As you know, here we give you all you need to know about Africa, what's going on across the continent, this beautiful continent of ours, and how we can improve. Of course, that's the reason why we have RAZEP Africa show. How can Africa improve? How can we become the continent of our dreams? That's what we'll be discussing. And today we are discussing something very important. As you already know, we always bring you these topics that get you ready and rethink your position. Now we are taking it to dignity after 65, rethinking how Africa supports its senior citizen. What are you doing to support the senior citizen? That's the conversation we'll be having. And in the studio with me this beautiful morning is the beautiful Dr. Stella Dogu. She's an advocate for senior citizens' welfare. She is an author and so much more. The producer of a podcast. I'm sure some of you would have stumbled on that very interesting podcast on Quarter Past 65. That's the name of the podcast, Quarter Past 65. So good to have you join us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. It's wonderful to have you around. You're looking beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me adjust.
Right. To look even more beautiful.
Even more beautiful.
That's good to know. Okay. But well, as usual, we'll start with the news, African news updates. Then we get to the conversation. We'll go for a short break. When we come back, it'll be time for the African news updates. Stay with us.
Welcome to RAZEP Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Welcome back. We begin in Kenya, where families of young men recruited to fight for Russia in the war in Ukraine have taken their protests to Parliament in Nairobi, holding photographs of their sons, some wounded, others still missing. The families demanded government intervention to bring them home. They also called on lawmakers to ban the recruitment of Kenyan citizens to fight in foreign wars. Human rights groups say many of the young men were lured with promises of employment abroad before being sent to battlefield. Kenyan authorities say more than 1,000 citizens were recruited to fight for Russia. With at least 89 still believed to be on the front lines, one death has been confirmed, while dozens have been hospitalized or remain missing as investigations into the recruitment network continue. Meanwhile, in Angola, the government has secured financial guarantees from the World Bank and its multilateral investment guarantee agency to support a major debt for education swap aimed at expanding school infrastructure. The agreement would allow Angola to buy back up to $400 million of expensive commercial debt using a lower-cost loan backed by the international institutions. Officials say the savings generated from the reduced debt payment will be redirected towards building new schools and strengthening the country's education system. The initiative is only second debt for education swap supported by the World Bank after a similar program launched in Ivory Coast in 2024, signaling growing interest in using debt restructuring to finance development priorities. And in Somalia, the country has taken a significant step towards electoral reform after Parliament approved a new constitution that will allow lawmakers to be directly elected by the public for the first time. Previously, members of Parliament were selected through a system where clan elders chose lawmakers who then voted for the president. Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre described the decision as a historic milestone in Somalia's democratic development. However, the vote passed despite a boycott by opposition groups. An amendment to the constitution also extended President Hassan Sheikh Mohamedu's mandate by 1 year, raising questions about when nationwide elections would actually take place. In West Africa, a new report is warning about the rapid spread of synthetic drugs across the region, describing it as a growing public health and security crisis. Researchers say the drug market is shifting from traditional plant-based narcotics to synthetic substances such as methamphetamine and powerful opioids, including tramadol and nitazenes. Experts warn that the impact is being felt most heavily among young people with rising cases of addiction, overdose, and severe mental health problems. The report says low production costs, easy access to precursor chemicals, and expanding global supply chains have enabled new criminal networks to enter the market, prompting calls for coordinated regional action. Meanwhile, in Zambia, the International Monetary Fund says negotiations for a new financial support program may stretch beyond the country's general elections scheduled for August. Zambia recently completed a $1.7 billion IMF program that helps stabilize the economy after a lengthy debt restructuring process. The IMF says technical discussions on a successor arrangement could begin in April, but deeper negotiations would likely take place after elections when a new government is in office. While the fund says Zambia's economic outlook remains positive, it has also warned of rising fiscal pressures linked to public spending and election-related costs. And finally, immigration policies affecting Africans abroad are under scrutiny after the United Kingdom announced it will stop issuing study visas to nationals of Cameroon and Sudan. British authorities say the move follows a sharp increase in asylum claims from students who initially entered the country legally on study visas. The UK government says applications from students from the two countries have surged significantly in recent years, raising concerns about misuse of the visa system. Officials say the policy is aimed at protecting Britain's asylum process, though critics argue it could restrict educational opportunities for African students seeking to study overseas. That's it for the African News Update. Now